What are you doing in here?
Watching somebody watch somebody who's watching somebody play video games.
What is up, my beloved brethren? Welcome back to the channel. Yeah, thank you for being here. I'm working on that intro still. I'm getting something figured out. Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna just get right into it. And let's see, we're gonna start off with Vandal. This is gonna be a good one.
It sure looks a lot like home.
Crash land back in Bikini Bottom.
And they just start making stuff up. Yeah. Like that Neil Armstrong guy. Have you seen him on the talk shows? Neil Armstrong being the first man to walk in the moon. Talk about a fish story. Yeah.
People love using that clip as a truth in plain sight for us not going to the moon, but they're missing the bigger picture. A fish story. I have also noticed that in just about every kid's book, there's fish in the sky. This book called Why Not blew me away because it's about looking up towards the sky, and all it does is mix sea life imagery with the sky. Remember, Ezekiel says that the firmament is like Beryl. This looks just like Beryl. You could see fish in the northern lights in this book too. This world is nothing like what we've been taught.
You had mentioned several times that you think that the UFO, UAP phenomena stuff is all spiritual.
I'm satisfied that I know enough, and I don't really want to know that much more. Because what I think I know is, this doesn't help me at all to know that. So that's the conclusion I've reached. I'm usually pretty curious. I've stopped being curious about this because
Stop being curious.
You truly don't want to know anymore about it.
I think I know. I think I know what's up. So I can't prove it. So I'm not going to articulate it, but I think I know what's up. Yeah.
Can you articulate it?
Well, I think it's a really old story. I think it's a really old story. So what is
a really old story?
I'm a Christian, and I'm fairly sincere about it. I try to be sincere about it.
What was it that led you to believe?
Talking to a lot of people, I was really shocked by what credible people told me. I became completely satisfied, I'll say that they were not lying, and that they were right or in the vicinity of right. And then I was like, whoa. Because I don't need to go farther than that. I mean, I think that the real struggles are unseen. That is absolutely a part of Christian theology. I didn't fully appreciate it at all. The belief that the real struggles are in the spiritual realm. That has been a constant belief since the beginning of history, recorded history. Everybody has thought that, except us in the West, since 1945. So once you get perspective on this question, you're like, okay, that may sound crazy to someone who thinks buying on Amazon is the meaning of life, but to every other person in the world, we may disagree about what the truth is, I'm sure we will, but we will never disagree with the fact that there's a lot of shit going on that we cannot see or measure with our senses. That is absolutely true. What I find so striking about the UFOs, this is the main takeaway I have, it's like there's this debate, is this stuff, these phenomena, which are clearly, obviously real, I mean, there's no debate about that. There's a lot that people can't explain in the sky and underwater. We know that. Fact. So the debate is this government technology? Is it from outer space, or is it some spiritual realm here? I've already told you my view of it. But what I find so interesting, we know the government's lied about it. They're lying about it now. That's a fact. There's no way around it. They've absolutely lied about it in very elaborate ways. I am really struck. Here's my current thinking on it. The main effort that the U.S. government has put into its disinformation, its lying on this topic, has been not to mislead you on the technology. They're not telling me they don't have anti-gravity technology. It sounds from watching your podcast that they do. Their main interest is in convincing you that the supernatural is not real. And if you watch, and there are people in the media who specialize in spreading these lies on behalf of the government. I'm not going to name anybody, but like some of them work. Once you realize what the point of the exercise is, it's crazy. And I hope you'll assess all the fact-checking and the skepticism on UAPs through this lens. The main thing they want you to believe is the supernatural is not real. And then you have to ask yourself, like, why?
It's interesting.
It is so interesting. Why is that important to you? Why do you care if I think the supernatural is real?
Right.
Why is that? First of all, why is it? How dare you, as my government,
Good
try to
point.
get involved in my spiritual beliefs? That's totally not your area. So
Exactly.
out of there, okay? A. But B, why has that been so important for 80 years for you to convince me the supernatural is not real? Why? Why is that?
80 years.
But my gut level response is, well, because if it is real, Whatever they're telling you is not real, and if they're punishing you for saying something you know for a fact is not real, you're not allowed to say that. Oh, not because they don't have no problem with me lying, because they lie for a living. So lying brings no sanction. You can lie all you want. What you can't do is tell the truth. That is a fact. So once you know that, you can sort of reverse engineer their lies and know with some certainty that whatever they tell you is not true, is in fact true. That's exactly the truth. It's exactly the truth. But then you have to ask a motive. Like, it's not a profit motive. Like, does it make them rich to deny that there's supernatural forces? No. What is that? And I don't know the answer. But the obvious answer is, well, because they sort of know they're working for supernatural forces, actually. And I think that's probably true.
Is there a specific reason or a handful of reasons, or is this a hunch that you believe that they're working with the supernatural realm?
Good question.
Well, I can't prove that. I mean, I'm suggesting that. I'm not saying it because I can't prove it, but I'm suggesting it. And if you're asking whether I believe it, the answer is yes.
It's a good suggestion.
But I believe that for two reasons. One, because I've told that directly by a couple of people who I think seem knowledgeable, and I attach some weight to that.
I think once he found out that the theory is that there's people or entities on people, there's entities on other dimensions that harvest our emotions, negative ones mainly, or energy. He's been kind of freaked out about the subject ever since, so I don't blame him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, when did Tucker Carlson get so based? I mean, I don't know, like, he has some stuff that he says, and, like, I don't know if, like, I like, get down with every single thing that Tucker Carlson says, but, man, some things that he says, I'm like, that seems like it makes a lot of sense, actually.
Of course, the headlines everywhere, the media outlets, everyone's saying World War III is coming, this is going to cause World War III. But it is not. I don't think World War III is ever going to happen, and do you want to know why?
Mm-hmm.
These people right here. The richest people on Earth, and the people above that, you know, everybody who is like the top of the top. These people will do anything to keep their money. They want to be the upper class, of course. If World War III broke out and people were firing nukes everywhere, it would be mutually assured destruction, which just means the whole Earth essentially is blown to smithereens. So what the hell would be the point in that? Because these people would be gone, and if they weren't gone, they wouldn't be upper class anymore because no one would be alive. Even if they had some ultra bunk which they survived in, wiped down 95% of the Earth, came out, their money doesn't mean anything. Not at all, because there won't be anything on Earth. There's always going to be wars and conflicts, but the fact now that everybody has nuclear weapons is scary and a threat, but it's highly unlikely anything major is going to happen worldwide with it. And as terrible as these conflicts in the Middle East and worldwide are, I don't think it will go completely global at this stage. But it's still scary times. The US and other countries could get involved in this war. It is escalating, but don't worry about full-blown World War III with nukes flying everywhere. And as always, I will keep you updated.
They want me to stop being a wonder bread. I'll have to say that for next time.
Yeah, I don't know, like, I seen Tate was saying something earlier, I think we watched that on the other one too, but it's like, this whole nuclear thing, like, there's too many important people up at the top for them to, like, actually lose out, so I don't feel like they're gonna actually do that. Yeah, come on guys. So let's see where else we can go with this. Let's fall back to Segovia. Let's see what he's looking at.
The first check from Richmond was $800,000. Like I could have lived a long time off of that money, you know. A decade or more of work for me easily. So like I was like, heck yeah, I'm good. I'll just take it, you know. And anyway, I say all that to say that now it's like I'm gonna at least just hit it good one more time. And we've got 6 songs recorded now to come after Scornful that are all like, I'm pretty proud of them. They're good, and so. I'm going to put those out, and then who knows after that, but
let me tell you what's going to happen. You got a relationship with those people now, man. They love you. It's just your mission in life. You just got handed a wild hand of cards, and this is your deck of cards. You know, your deck of cards or your hand of cards is you put this song out, this authentic song that's very simple. In this time where nothing's simple. In this time where everything's confusing and you don't know who's telling the truth.
No one is.
The news is lying to you.
Yeah.
Everything is being funded. Nothing's organic. It's half the fucking traffic on social media is bots. At least politicians are lying. Everybody's confused. People are sipping for politicians. They're getting paid to repeat talking points on television. and on podcasts and all over social media. So when someone comes out with something like that, is just that dude telling you how he feels. I remember we had that conversation on the phone, and I was like, if you could do that, you could do that again. You don't.
No, that's true.
Else. You don't need these motherfuckers who want you to cash out. All these, they're doing that because they think that you're gullible. They think that you're naive in the ways of the entertainment and music business.
Get it? Like, how does he say that knowing he's did that? Like, you were already the #1 podcast. You were doing your damn thing, and then you go and sign a $300 million contract with Spotify. Now you got a comedy club. You know what I mean? Now you're getting Trump on there. Now you're getting all the, like, it's crazy, y'all. But, you know.
But he would have done that without it.
Yourself. That's him.
No, but he had
Porsches in the driveway. He don't need the, the fancy. That dude's just chill. He's real. He's down to earth. He's good with just, hey, if I can pay my bills with this, I'm good. If you don't want to be that, because that's where you're going to go. You're going to get to a point where you ain't going to be able to go to the store no more. You ain't going to be able to go to your local Walmart. You probably already can't go to his local Walmart. It's probably driving him nuts, right?
Mm-hmm.
My advice would have been to him, just be yourself, man. Every once in a while, you want to put a song out, you got the itch, put your song out.
Right.
If you ain't trying to go to that level, because Joe Rogan knows what's at that level. We saw him and Aaron Rodgers on an earlier video that we posted a week ago or something, talking about they got invited to those parties. And they probably went to those parties because look where they went in their career, right? They made a joke about it, like, I got invited, so did I. You know what I mean? Like, they had a little inside thing. Be careful who you talk to, y'all. Be careful.
This is some bullshit.
Look at this.
Who the hell?
Free at last.
It's crazy, yo.
Ugly ass shit. I wish it was a manager here because y'all decorate everything else around here cute. Everything else around here cute.
It's true.
But for Juneteenth, you want to just throw something on a freaking cookie cake and expect someone to buy it? That's bullshit.
But what is the deal with this free at last one, though? And why is it in the Ukraine colors? I'm confused. None of that makes any sense.
I would take that.
Fuck free at last? Like, really?
I would take
Who
that.
the fuck thinks about this dumbass shit?
I wouldn't feel good about that. Seeing that, like,
You know what? I'm gonna be here.
I mean, that one just says free on it. I would think it's free.
To talk to somebody about this because this is unacceptable.
So I asked ChatGPT what it thinks about the Astroworld tragedy since everybody seems to have forgotten about it. And here's what it said. From a spiritually awake perspective, insane sentence to start out with. Something was deeply, undeniably...
Nah, I feel like ChatGPT be glazing. I don't know. Like, I don't feel like that's gonna even scratch the surface. Let's dive into this one.
Right, but the common thread is you're not alone. And there's something else here with you. And there's something that's, as you said, watching you. It's kind of like you've lived on an island your whole life, and you've looked across the ocean and you've never imagined there was another island with anybody else on it. And then suddenly a ship with sails shows up. You don't understand it, but you realize that suddenly your world just got a lot bigger. I think we're in one of those moments right now.
Oh, do you?
Our world view, our galactic view, is
Wow.
opening, right, to something a little bit bigger. And not just that there might be somebody else,
Oh, no.
but that there's something else.
Oh, my goodness. Who would have considered that?
The craziest theory I heard is that they're putting demons inside these graves because that'll actually get them a flesh.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
never
because
know.
demons run around in spirit form, but when you give them an alien gray bodysuit, they're able to take on flesh form.
I'm sure Tucker
that's a
knows
creepy
about
theory.
that.
I mean, look at my man here.
Whole theories?
For example.
That's
Look at that. You know, eyes are always black. You know what I'm saying? Are they throwing demons inside here and they're hive-minded? Like Legion? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.
Australia ain't represented because Australia wasn't founded until 1901. As y'all can see, this is the map. This is for 1587. Antarctica, they represented tropical.
Tropical.
Those beings hadn't came through yet and turned into ice. Africa, United States.
Let me get an Antarctic beachfront property.
They all connected. They lied to us. The crazy thing about this map, Australia ain't represented.
Why?
Because Australia wasn't founded until 1901. Australia ain't represented.
But why though?
The crazy part about this map, I remember watching the video where people said they walked all the way from India.
Yeah, but is that true? Or does
Hey,
just
what this map shows is possible. I mean, it's a hike, but if it's all connected,
is it
how
though?
crazy would that be? It's all connected.
That look like
Antarctica, you see, has green land over there. What's going on with that?
But is this India?
It's like the universe reaches out and grabs you by the throat. Tell me about the experience.
Basically, so this is 9:40 in the morning, and I'm in my room, just like sitting against my headboard and sending emails on my laptop. And I put down my laptop for just a second to pick up my phone. And as soon as I do that, I get this like, it's like I knew exactly what would happen next. That's the weirdest part. One of the weirdest parts about this is that I feel like I knew that I'm about to go through an experience, and I'm even going to call it an abduction because that's the best word that my brain can come up with. This all came to me within half a second or maybe milliseconds, and then I realized that I couldn't even move, and I started freaking out. That's never happened to me before. Like while being consciously awake and suddenly you just can't do anything. It was terrifying. I scanned the room just with my eyes for like I did about 2 scans, and then by the time I get to my 3rd scan, I see this shimmering object. It's a white outline with like these big black eyes. And initially I thought this can't be real. Suddenly it became completely solid, completely materialized, and I see this being. It's about 3 to 4 feet tall. Its head is massive, like probably the head alone is about a foot. Very like robotic looking. The whole thing that it was wearing was like one uniform Snow White spacesuit. Like it was very pure white with like this golden insignia in the middle that was constantly changing colors. Sorry, not changing colors, changing symbols.
Wait, he messed changing colors or changing symbols?
Weird in itself, and suddenly 2 other beings materialized the same exact way, right next to it. And I figured, alright, if I look away, these things are gonna be gone. Like I'm dreaming this or something. And I looked around and I like looked back, and I was just walking around my room, like own the room. And I was terrified. I was like terrified and fascinated because I was like, holy crap, these things are real. So I moved my neck a little bit, just by about an inch, and I feel extremely nauseous when I did that. So like I was fighting like the paralysis, you can say. And as I did this, like their craft sort of materializes through my room. So like through my roof. So my roof disappears, and I can see their craft sort of submerge through the roof. And I was like, that's not possible.
Wait, it could be possible in multiple dimensions.
It definitely made it seem like either my room was a fake image or that was like a fake image being overlaid across my eyes. Then I put my neck down a little bit more, and suddenly my entire room is gone, and all I could see is that I'm inside the entire craft now. And I felt super sick to my stomach, like very uneasy. So I went back, put my head back down, and back like my room is back up again, and I only see my room and these 3 beings. And now they're projecting these hieroglyphics. It was sentences and paragraphs, and it would be like, imagine if I had like subtitles floating in front of me. They were like dark red symbols. It was like I described it as a mix of Egyptian and Japanese, and they were just flipping from the bottom up, really, really fast, just flip, paragraph, sentence, and it's hovering right in front of my wall, like above one of their heads. That there was only one English symbol that was shown about 3 to 4 times. Everything else was these hieroglyphs.
And what was it?
DNA in capital letters. I was studying their movements. I was
DNA.
studying, like exactly what was going on, and trying to like do my best to remember these symbols. But the fact that DNA in capital letters was shown, that really stuck with me. It means that they find it relevant.
Was there any communication other than the symbols? Was there any mental communication or verbal?
So I heard like verbal voices when I was completely, when I moved my head completely, and I could only see the shit. And it sounded like they were telling me to like relax or calm down. It was like it was multiple voices, but it was a female one that told me that like it's okay. Yeah. Other than that, there was other way of communication I can say happened.
How long do you think the experience lasted? How did it end?
It felt in total about 20 to 30 minutes. There was one part where where I'm standing. I thought the experience ended, and I'm just standing in front of my fridge, just looking at it, and I can feel gravity, and I can physically feel like I'm there, and then suddenly it just stops, and I'm back in my own body, like back lying in the bed and seeing them as they're flipping these holograms. And I was like, holy crap, I thought this was over. How did they do that? So how it ended was the last couple minutes, this being like it jumps up on top of my bed, and it like I feel extreme euphoria come across, like an extreme bliss. The word that came to my mind was feeling. Oneness. I don't know, I was in a state of just being where it felt like I describe it as the universe being sentient, like it was acknowledging my existence. And it felt like I was remembering this, that like I always knew this somehow, and I always knew that I would come to this day, that this experience would happen, and I would realize this. It was just such a strange, alien feeling.
Do they pick and choose who's worthy, or just people all over the world making these up? You be the judge.
That is a good point. That is actually a really good point, because everyone would love to be worthy, right? Okay, let's check out Bryce's right. Let's see what he's got for us.
That's different. I like that though.
Human cells can now be reprogrammed using only sound. We've been using ultrasound to quite literally shatter tumor cells for a while now. If you think of an opera singer shattering a wine glass with their voice, it's the same concept. It's just with cells. These techniques have been used to reduce the size of tumors and shatter cancer cells like leukemia. This research is called sonogenetics, and it can be used to quite literally turn on and off genes. This can be used to treat way different things like Parkinson's or even blindness. Everything has a frequency, even cells. Now the outside of the cell, think of that like a water droplet on a speaker. Different frequencies can make it dance or change shape. Say you want to target something inside the cell, you would need to then know the harmonics. In this example, paint, oil, and water are all mixed. Different frequencies will vibrate the different fluids. You know those frequencies, it allows you to pretty much control them. You have devices like the Simoscope that can measure these frequencies and then show you what they look like. So my question is, were the builders of these aware of this before we were? Nobody knows who really designed them, but we know they had a deep knowledge of acoustics. In every cathedral, there's an ambulatory. That has the same geometry as a cavity resonator. In the center of that resonator is an interference pattern. The same thing we see inside maps. You make those by playing a frequency through a speaker and you get a pattern. To find the resonance of a building, you record the silence of that building and then amplify it to get the sound. Here's the weird part. Those patterns match the patterns that we see all over the building. If you think it's a coincidence, understand that DNA also makes these patterns. When you look at the molecular bonds of DNA from the top down, they form radial harmonic patterns. But this research discovers that harmonic patterns harmonize our genes. Maybe our care facilities will start to look more like that than this, which is a win for everyone. If you have Cryptex, page 124...
When they say care facilities, man, I would love... If I went to a hospital and it looked like a church, I think it would probably...
125 deep dive on this topic.
At least one of those ones.
Research, and if you're into that kind of thing, there's a bunch of digital goodies in here for you. As you can see, enough people...
Look at the plane. That is low. It's like doing a turn, like way out there. Y'all, this is making me really nervous.
No, dude. No.
Please be just turning. It literally just zoomed past the water slides, and I heard everybody scream, but I didn't know what they were screaming about. There was a plane about the size of the boat, like right beside us. Y'all, it's like coming back towards. I'm like getting really nervous. Like it was uncomfortably close. Like it is uncomfortably close to this boat. I don't like that.
What kind of plane?
I don't like that at all.
You probably...
That, like, look how close.
It is okay.
And it don't really look like a passenger plane. I don't know, y'all.
It does,
Yeah, you guys fucking suck at your job. I'm gonna come down there and beat the fuck out of you, you fucking sick bitch. You better start stretching. I'm gonna fucking wear you out, dumbass. 10 minutes, parking lot.
How did we all do this?
Yo, Bryce is right about those funny ones. I love how he adds those edits.
On the point, everybody free to disagree if you do.
What up, everybody at Tangled Dust? Did you know that America almost had its own Hitler in 1933?
Oh.
No joke. This is a true story. This is not a conspiracy theory. Who chose a dictator? Major General Smedley Butler.
Hold up, guys. Just remember, there are no true stories. Yeah, don't back the wrong scene. Don't believe anything. Don't believe anything, you know. Let's go back to the video. I just want to make that clear. Everything is entertainment purposes. None of this is real.
Smedley was one of the most decorated Marines in U.S. history. The U.S. was in chaos. It was in the middle of the Great Depression. People were starving, banks were collapsing, unemployment was sky high. The president had just taken office in 1932 with a promise to help the working class. To the super rich, this sounded like socialism or worse. FDR's New Deal included heavy taxes on the ultra-rich, new labor protections, banking regulations, unions getting stronger, etc. The plotters were some of the biggest names in American business. J.P. Morgan and Associates, the DuPont family members, executives from General Motors, U.S. Steel, Standard Oil, Goodyear. They believed FDR would betray their class, so they planned to install a dictator they could control. The plan was to raise a private army of 500,000 war veterans, march on Washington, and force Roosevelt to step aside or become a figurehead. Then replace democracy with a fascist regime like Mussolini's Italy. They secured what would be about $70 billion today as a war chest, and then they quietly recruited. But why Butler? Well, he was beloved by the World War I veterans, and he had led protests around poor treatment of returning soldiers from World War I. He had spoken out for the poor and against war profiteering. So he had credibility with soldiers and some credibility with people. And that's what the plotters needed. But Butler had something they didn't. A conscience. So he pretended to go along until he blew the whole thing up. Butler went to Congress, he testified under oath before the McCormick-Dixon Committee in 1934, and he named names. He exposed meetings, funding, plans, everything. Coup was real. So what happened to the plotters? Nothing. No arrests, no trials, no headlines, the names were buried, and the public moved on. You see, both equals protection. So who saved American democracy? A war hero that said no. Smedley Butler, who called the whole thing a corporate plot to seize the government by force. And when they asked him why he didn't go along with it, he said, I believe in democracy, I fought for it. One man stood between us and fascism. America came very close. Is that what's happening now? Did they finally get their guy in there? You tell me in the comments, and remember, I'll be fine. I'm a part of the 1%.
and I protect it because wealth equals protection. Peace.
Yeah, no, people always want to get rich, they always want to be wealthy, but wealth isn't always about having money, you know. Wealth can be a lot of different things. Um, that is a very interesting video, I do have to say so myself. And, I really appreciate you guys, like, chiming in and seeing what I have going on. Like, this is an interesting compilation, just the way it all came together. I think we got time for, like, one more video. Let's see what this unk got to say. Back on Segovia.
If you own fake milk, everything is chemical. Listen, it's only really like 5 foods. And they take them foods and they mirror and they make other foods that's not really foods. So everybody went around not really eating. Right? I told you about the water. All the water's fake. The water come out the faucet fake. All the water fake. There's only one real water that's spring. Right? All the food is fake, gang. Like, it's kind of crazy to know that when you go outside, if you try to get healthy, that food is worth it than the first food. Because healthy food is worth it than bad food.
You ever heard of the story of the doctors when the babies are born, the black...
This is the video that got Mario.
That 607 guy, I feel like he's a plant, might be CIA. Because I don't know if that made complete sense. But all I know is grow it yourself, organic. That's the way you know it's real. Anyway, thank you guys so much. I'm going to check back in with you, brethren, later on. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Also, make sure you check out all the other creators too. They're all pretty dope. And if there's more stuff that I should know, let me know in the comments below. Okay. Take care, guys.